Hey guys, I'm back. We're gonna do another project on the GX today. I've got a little thing to do. It's not a real big deal, but I've been looking for mounts for my phone. And there's not as many options, surprisingly, as there were for the Jeeps. The Jeeps, you can go to Bulletpoint or IP67 or Ram Mount, and there's like a kit that just bolts in. It's super easy. Not so much for the GX. There's a couple of kind of mounting solutions out there, but I didn't really like any of them. They kind of go down and replace the side of the console with a MOLLE panel that then you can kind of bolt stuff onto and have it sticking up from down there. Or there's another option that kind of goes over the infotainment system, but I feel like that kind of blocks access to the vents, and I didn't really want that either. So there wasn't really a great, just kind of off the shelf bolt-on solution. So I've been kind of looking around trying to figure out how to do this, and I think I've got that figured out. We're gonna try it today and see what happens. So we're gonna do this kind of as we go. I'm just gonna warn you now that this is not rehearsed, so we'll see what happens. So let me get started and kind of show you what we got, and then we'll go from there. Okay guys, so here's kind of what I came up with. We're gonna try to do a Bulletpoint mount. They make a really cool wireless charging mount that uses the MagSafe magnet mount. So I think that'll be strong enough when we're kind of going off road, doing some tracks and stuff, that it'll hold the phone. I've already kind of tested it on the phone and shook it a little bit, and it seems to do pretty well. I'm gonna use, this is a angled ball mount, and I think we're gonna be able to use that and bolt into the A-pillar grab handle. And then we'll have a mount to mount this arm on, and kind of put that together something like this, and then be able to angle that into a good position. Now, I still gotta get power to this wireless charging mount, and I don't wanna have cables just running everywhere. So I've got, it runs off USB. I've got a USB just to 12 volt port for like a cigarette lighter port that we're gonna mount under the dash. I've also got some ATA fuse or ATA circuits that I'm gonna put into the fuse block inside the cabin. I think there's a couple of free slots in there that we can tie into to get power to this, and then we'll ground it. And then we'll be able to plug in our USB port to the power over here. And then we should have power to it. It should power everything up, and then we'll still have Bluetooth to be able to run audio and things like that, but we'll have the phone out where I can get to it a little bit more easily. Right now I kind of set it in part of the center console, and it's not the optimal solution. So I think this will be a much better solution. I think it'll be a very durable, kind of robust solution that should hold the phone. So I'm gonna go ahead and start kind of getting the GX apart so we can get in there and find what we need to be able to do this. So let me get started on that, and I'll take you over there. Okay guys, so the first thing I'm gonna do is try to get this off here. I'm gonna use a plastic trim removal tool for all of this. You can get these in an auto parts store. They don't cost very much. They usually come as a set, but they're nice and soft so they won't damage your trim. And we're just gonna kind of get it in there and pop this out. This just pops right out. It's really easy to take out. We're gonna set it aside. And there's a nice bolt there. I think that's a 10mm bolt we'll get out. I think I can just mount the ball right to that. It's gonna look a little rough, but you don't really see it from the inside, so I think it'll be okay. I'm gonna go get my 10mm socket now, and we're gonna try that. I have my 10mm socket, and we're just gonna take this out. This comes out pretty easy. It doesn't have a whole lot of torque on it, turns out. I'm just gonna take it out completely. And I think it's fairly long, so I think we should be good to go ahead and use it for the mount, but we'll see. I'm gonna try that right now. I'm gonna go get the mount. Well, that's a little bit of a problem at best. Won't really do what I wanted it to do. So this was what I was afraid of. This really needs to mount this way, like this. And the way the handle, grab handle comes off, and the way the mount is, the grab handle comes off at an angle, but the mount is straight, right? So this thing needs to sit something like this against it, but that's going to be kind of a weird angle. And I almost need like a little washer, a thick kind of little connector in there. So I think we're going to have to go get something that will do that. I'm going to make some measurements to try to figure out what we need. And I think what I'd like to do is have it kind of sitting like that. And that means we're going to need, like, I don't know, probably, I'd say a good 3/4 of an inch little spacer in there, and a longer bolt by probably a good 3/4 of an inch. So I'm gonna have to go to the hardware store and get some stuff. So I guess we're gonna go do that, and then I'll come back. Okay, so guys, I just went ahead and mounted this off camera when I was at the hardware store just to make sure that I had the right bolt. This is a M6 by 1.0 by 50 millimeter bolt with a flat washer and then a nylon spacer behind it. And it doesn't get, I can still turn it a little bit on that Bulletpoint mount, but I kind of want it to hang just straight down, and it's going to be against the grab handle a little bit, so it's going to hold it in place. And I think it's going to be plenty strong enough. So I'm going to go ahead and put the mount on now, just to kind of get an idea how that's going to fit. I've got two different lengths of arm. I think the original arm I was going to use is going to be too long, so I'm going to have to use the shorter one. So let me get out of here and I'll go get that and show you that. Alrighty guys, so I've got the short arm here, and I think it's going to work out just perfect for us. Bulletpoint makes several different lengths. This is the not the shortest, it's the next to the shortest one. It's like a 3-inch arm, 3.5, something like that. I got these a while ago, so I don't remember exactly, but yeah, that's gonna work. Let's see if we can figure out how that's gonna work for us. So I think something like that is going to work pretty well for us, and that should allow us to route the wire through here pretty easily. Shouldn't be too hard. Gonna have to pop some trim panels off, but yeah, I think we'll be able to make that work pretty good. So I'm going to try to tighten this up just a little bit more. Yeah, that's pretty good. I think that's going to work. So the only thing we got left to do now is get our cabling rin, and we're going to do that by popping off a couple of these body panels over here for the interior. There's a side panel here, and the fuse block is under the dash. So I'm going to try to show you guys that. I'm probably going to do that off camera because I think it'll just be easier, and then kind of get the camera position so I can show you what I'm doing. Okay, this is what we ended up doing. This turned out to be quite a bit more than I thought it was going to be. I did this off camera, thankfully, because there was quite a bit of gnashing of teeth and, well, just to be honest, quite a bit of cussing. So this is our 12 volt to USB adapter, and it is wired in to here, and it runs all the way over into the center console. Now I had this up, I'm not going to take it back up. You can watch videos. It just pops out and comes out, but you do have to unscrew your shifter. And what I ended up doing was tying into the 12 volt cigarette lighter lead with just a little splicer. And then I grounded. I couldn't find a really good ground in there, so I ended up grounding. There's a bolt that holds the shifter on down to the body, and I ended up grounding to that. So now I have 12 volt power all the way over there. So if we go to the accessory, you can see I get a light on this, and if we give it just a minute, we should get a charge on that, which we do. So now that's charging. So everything's running good. So the only thing I've got left to do here is just tidy this up a little bit and get all the trim put back together. I'm going to zip tie some stuff in place so it reduces the risk of rattles. And then we'll be all buttoned up and good to go. So I'll get that done and then we'll close the video out. So I got everything back together. I gotta say, Lexus does it right. The whole dash just basically snaps apart like a model or something. It's kind of funny, but when it goes back together, the clips I use are super high quality and they're super tight. So I got everything back together. It all just snapped right back in. You can see all the interior panels fit together really well. Gear shifter just screws on. And again, we should be good to go. Let's check it one last time just to make sure that we have everything. Now, we should go ahead and charge, which we are. You can see, I think that we're charging. If you look right there. And then when we shut the ignition off, we aren't charging because we're on switched power. So that should kind of finish things up. All right, guys, so that was a job. I think I just showed you everything I ended up having to do. It was a lot more than I thought. I'd gotten those ATA circuits and I was just gonna add a circuit to the fuse block underneath the dash, but I couldn't tell that there was power to the one blank in that fuse box. I could never really tell. They're really those little tiny micro fuses. They're kind of hard to get a tester in there turned upside down and backwards. So I ended up running power over to the 12 volt in the center console, which worked just fine. I knew I could get power from there. That was always kind of my backup plan. I just didn't want to have to pull the whole center console apart. Turns out I shouldn't have been worried about that at all because it literally just comes apart. It's super easy. I think there was one screw in a kick panel underneath the dash and everything else just snaps apart and snaps back together and is good and tight. So that's gonna finish it up for the video. I've got 12 volt power to that wireless charger now and a place to stick my phone. And that's one more project down on the GX build. It's a little one, but a really convenient one, especially since I don't have Apple CarPlay yet and I'm having to navigate off my phone when I do need navigation. So that'll hold it up in my line of sight and make it a lot safer to drive. So that's going to close us out. I'm Landon. This is Order of the Traveling Hats. Thanks for putting up with me today and watching this debacle that was me tearing apart my GX. And we hope to see you guys out there.